You are tuning in to the Atlanta Realtors Rundown, the official podcast for the Atlanta Realtors. We're here to keep you updated with the latest trends, topics, and keep you in the know of our ever-changing Atlanta market. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi, and welcome back to the Atlanta Realtors Rundown. I'm your host today, Neil Midder. Our guest today is Stephanie Jacobs. Before we start, though, if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please make sure you do. It's available on all the different platforms. If you make sure you subscribe to it, then that way you won't need to remember to try and find it every single time. So, as I mentioned, our guest today is Stephanie Jacobs. Stephanie graduated from the University of Georgia with a Bachelor in Fine Arts and Painting and Drawing, In 2017, she opened her own business, Staged by Stephanie, primarily focused on staging homes. And that's actually how we met. But now Stephanie's actually focused more on all aspects of interior design. The primary topic for today is really trying to talk about interior design trends for 2023. So Stephanie, before we do that though, do you want to give everyone a bit of introduction for yourself and also explain how you actually got into interior design?
Yeah, so I graduated from UGA with a BFA in art and in painting and drawing and actually art education as well. So I did teach for 7 years in public schools, and I originally went to school for interior design, but I didn't have that creativity that I wanted, which is why I kind of, at 18 years old, you really don't know what you want to do when you go into college. So I changed to painting and drawing, and then I was like, okay, I need to also make money. So I'm also going to be a teacher, and teaching, I come from a long line of teachers, so it's kind of in my blood as well. So yeah, so once I kind of took a step back from teaching after having my first child, I have a realtor friend who suggested that I get into staging homes. So I started with occupied staging only, meaning going into homes, giving them a whole list of what they need to do to get their homes ready for the market, to make it look great, and obviously in person make it look great for that emotional connection for prospective buyers so that sellers could get the most amount of money back and, of course, sell it quickly. Because so much of home purchasing is emotional. And then from there, my business just took off and people asked me to come back and design their new home. And so now we do it all.
Right. And I've definitely seen that. I've seen where I've taken buyers into a home and they've actually fallen in love with the home because of the way that it's staged. And often they say, is the furniture for sale? So I think staging is such an important component.
Yeah.
And how the house looks.
Yes, it highlights all the features that are important. It really does. It helps a buyer envision themselves in the space and kind of, take away any sort of emotional connections that the seller has and any taste-specific things that the seller has done. And, you always have to approach it in a loving manner with the current homeowners, the sellers, because there's a fine line, right, of what is taste-specific and what can we do to make this, open for all buyers.
Absolutely. And that's such an important part to it. Mm-hmm. So I know as a realtor, again, we get asked a lot of questions. We wear different hats. And so sometimes, people will ask us advice in terms of, we're looking to make improvements to the house. What kind of things are in, what kind of things are out. And a lot of times there's fads that come in and come out, right? So
100%.
So in terms of some of the trends that you're seeing for 2024, what do you say coming
So
on?
I'd like to start at the most simple things that home sellers can do to improve and using those trends. And let's start in the kitchen, right? Because that's the heart of the home. And that is one of the biggest selling features of a home as well. A lot of potential buyers that are looking at not brand new builds can get past certain things like powder rooms or, carpet in bedrooms if they want hardwoods. But I think a kitchen is a major part of the home. And one simple thing to do is always update hardware. Take away, don't use rose gold. Rose gold is totally out now. It was really trending a few years ago. Brushed brass is good, but, matte black is really what we are generally recommending right now. There's also ash gray is kind of a new hardware that's in. It's more of like a shinier gray metal, kind of just a change from the matte black. It used to be oil rub bronze, and now it's just kind of evolved into matte black and now ash gray. And those two things are great. Always changing out knobs on cabinets with a pull just brings the cabinets up a level. And then paint. Paint is always a huge thing. Just even if your cabinets are in great condition, and just repainting the cabinets are always a great thing to do. White cabinets are in, but a whole white kitchen is not, right? White is always easy to live with. I mean, people can always envision themselves with white cabinets, but an easy way to update it for, 2024 and beyond is maybe changing out the backsplash to add a little bit of color if you do have an all white kitchen. Or, like I said, change out the hardware to a matte black or an ash gray versus another, brushed silver type of hardware. Also, changing out your counters is an easy fix as well, painting walls. And then if you want to add a color of paint to your cabinets, I recommend if you have like an island, that's a great place to, change the color so it's not just white. Believe it or not, wood is back in, the lighter wood tones, and now we're getting the darker wood tones that everybody was saying paint are back in too. What's not in is the orange wood tones from the 90s. So I always recommend painting that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I know that a few years ago, there was like people saying a different combination of metal colors were in. Is that still the case? Is it still good to mix the different hardware colors, or is it best to go with one color?
I still think it's really nice to mix, right? I mean, especially if you have stainless steel appliances, you can still keep like your brushed nickel faucet, for example, and then just change all of your cabinet hardware to black or brushed gold. Brushed gold is still in. I say use brushed gold in small amounts, right? You don't want a whole kitchen brushed gold or a whole home brushed gold. You don't want to start changing your knobs to brushed gold. I think it's fine in small amounts, but don't overdo it with that because that can become taste specific. So, but yes, mixing metals is definitely in. It's just finding the balance of mixing the right metals together.
Right. And you mentioned like paints in kitchens. Are there certain paint colors that you think are more suitable for kitchens? Are there others that you would try to avoid?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like I said, white cabinets are still great, but if you want to do either your lowers, a different color, or just your island a different color, or if you have a built-in, wall unit, like a built-in bar or coffee bar, you can paint that whole piece of cabinetry, the uppers and lowers one color. These smoky blues are still trending. Like charcoal blue, I think it's like naval, things like that are still, and even smoky blue by Sherwin-Williams is still trending as well. And then these kind of deeper greens, so more of like a richer hunter green or pewter type of greens are really trending as well. And even going just a few shades darker in your white of your cabinets is really nice too.
Okay, so still a white, but just a different shade of white?
Like a few shades darker would be nice too.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
What other areas of the house do you tend to focus on? So we've talked a bit about the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, gray is out.
Oh.
So don't overdo it with the cool grays. Warm grays that are verging on like white are in. So, just be careful of, repainting your cabinets gray, because gray has become kind of out too. But yeah, the other areas I would focus on the house are painting walls, right? That's a very, very easy thing to do. Paint is going to be your cheapest, fastest way to upgrade a home, whether it's painting your ceiling white, if it's if it's kind of like builder beige from the early 2000s, or, giving one room an accent color. I think that buyers still really appreciate that as long as it's a good accent color. We're not talking about magenta. We're talking about, again, those moody colors are really nice for an accent color. So once again, a smoky blue or a smoky green. And I would do all the walls, including if you have a chair rail, I would continue the chair rail that color as well.
Okay.
Depending on the room size, you can do the ceiling white, or if you have really high ceilings, it's kind of nice to do the ceiling the same color. And of course, just different sheens for different places.
So the same color on the ceiling as on the walls, but a different shade?
Yes, different sheens.
Different sheens.
Yeah,
okay.
Flat on the ceilings.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of some of the other places in the room, so like bathrooms and stuff like that, what kind of things are you seeing come in there?
Yeah, so still the matte black hardware. People are really liking the idea of doing sconces on either side of the mirror versus an overhead light. And it just kind of brings it up a level. If you have a powder room, don't be afraid to add a pretty little chandelier in there. Flush mount chandelier is really nice. Just little accents that take the house up a level. So it feels designed versus just built, if that makes sense. Especially when you get in, actually any market, I think that's good. And whether you're selling a condo for 200,000 versus a home in the millions, I think it's important for buyers to have that emotional connection. We're so, we are so, inundated all the time with HGTV and Instagram and Pinterest, and people are looking for that Instagram worthy home, and they want it all. And it's hard to get it all. So show potential buyers that they can get a lot of it.
Right. Okay.
And then they can do the rest, right?
Right.
But let them have that, let them have that foot. Let them see okay, I see where this is going. I can make this work. That's what we're trying to create in the space.
Okay. I know that a lot of people say lighting is often a good way of being able to make a house look very different too.
100%.
Are there certain types of lights that you recommend? What kind of, even in terms of the intensity of the light, more daylight or more soft lighting, what kind of things would you recommend there?
Lighting is a huge subject, whether it's, clients looking to design, remodel, update lighting, or, potential sellers. First of all, make sure your light bulbs match throughout the room. At least throughout the room, if not throughout the house. It's a pet peeve of mine. It doesn't look good in photos either if you're getting your home ready to sell. But to see, 4 recessed lights and then have them all bright white, and then one has this orange color, it never looks great. It's what I like. 300 lumens is my kind of sweet spot. One of the easiest things to do also is to update your older LED recessed lights with the new LED cans, and you would update the whole entire piece of that. And that's something, a handyman can do, or obviously an electrician as well. But, the electrical is already there. It's very easy. And if somebody's very well versed and, if they're very handy, they can do it themselves too.
Right.
But I really like it's kind of right in the middle, 300 lumens. It's not too bright. It doesn't feel like a hospital, and it's not too orange either. So it just kind of creates a nice mood. But I like it, make sure your recessed lighting is on dimmers if you can. And I love having, either lamps in the room, or if it's a kitchen, having pendants as well over the island, or, the counter kind of area. And, sconces are nice in the bathroom or in the bedroom on either side of the bed. But it's just nice to have a choice of different lights for sure.
Okay. What about more the geometric lighting? The different shapes, like the circles, the octagons, all of those combinations.
Yeah.
Is that still something that's you're seeing very popular?
It is. It definitely is. What I'm seeing less of is, a few years ago, all the beaded light fixtures were trending. It was beads and it was that farmhouse, chic, kind of coastal kind of feel. I mean, I still love a beaded light fixture if it's in a beach house. But I think it kind of belongs in the beach house, right? I think that the large beaded light fixtures are kind of going out. Geometric are nice. Woven light fixtures are really in. People are really wanting to bring in other textures and elements into their home. So it's not just, fabric, wood, metal. So, and I think people have figured out bringing in that woven element, whether it's on chairs or light fixtures, headboards. It's really trending right now.
Yeah, and I'd even heard that a lot of people are moving more towards sustainable materials too. Trying to bring more of the outside in. Is that something that you're saying too?
Yes, 100%. And when we do walkthroughs, I'm always saying bring fresh flowers. Put fresh flowers out. Keep your plants, if you're living there, please keep your plants alive, and obviously trimmed and maintained. But I think, bringing the outside in is a huge, huge trending thing right now. Plants are really big. They really became, plants are great in general. I feel bad saying they became popular. It's pets became popular, kids became popular. Right. They should always have been in our house. But I think during COVID, people really began, bringing plants more into their home as well. And, you can't go wrong with a beautiful splash of live, green in your home ever.
Right. So. I mean, I've spoken to lots of people that during, COVID, because they weren't able to go out, they spend a lot more time out in their yard. So then they started bringing some of those elements in. If you're growing flowers, you bring it in. And so I can definitely see where that comes from.
And it's good for your mood and for your air quality too.
Right.
They clean the air. So, nothing wrong with plants. Just keep them alive. Choose easy plants if you're not good at keeping them alive.
Yeah. I'm not very good at keeping plants alive. So I try to avoid doing. In terms of the exterior of the house, then, right? So we've talked quite a bit about the interior. What kind of things are you suggesting for the exterior of the house? Because curb appeal is so important, right?
Oh, 100%.
So-
Well, always clean, pressure wash, get rid of any, damaged or rotted wood, fix anything necessary, make sure everything is sparkling, including your windows, and make sure you're putting fresh plantings down, pine straw mulch, whatever you need to do to make your home look, ready. And there's something to be said with a fresh, pine straw or mulch around your home. It just makes it pop no matter the color. And speaking of color, we in Atlanta, and I'm going to get some backlash for this, but I think a lot of, Atlanta always is kind of last on the design track. We're a great city, right? Like we've got, so much going on here in terms of furniture industry, movie industry, fashion industry. So much is going on here. But when it comes to Atlanta, we are a very conservative city with design, and we are kind of slower to take on design and risk. I'll never forget when my neighbor painted her home all black. And this was before the all black home came in, and she was like, "You're going to see, it's going to become popular." And I was like, okay. And, she was telling me.
Right.
And guess what? Like a year later, everybody was painting their homes well, not everybody, but a lot.
Yep.
It's not as popular in Atlanta, but I do see it a lot more. And it's kind of the same with the White House black trim. Okay. First of all, if you're going to do it, if you're going to still do it, make sure if you're not great with color, make sure you're consulting somebody who is, because I've seen homes around Atlanta where it's like they chose the whitest white possible and the blackest black possible, and it does not look great. Like it doesn't look, you're in a natural setting. You have trees and bushes and animals all around you in Atlanta. We're like tree capital of the nation, I think,
Right.
or tree city of the nation. You want to make it sure it looks natural, but we have overdone it with the White House black trim. And what is trending for and I think it's been overdone around the nation. But people are going back to the more natural colors too for their homes, bringing in shades of that green, like muted green, using the natural brick color still, and using more off whites instead of the bright whites as well, and just kind of going away from the, black trim. I think people are trying to warm things up. I think, not feel so sterile in their homes and the exteriors of homes as well.
I'd seen a trend where a lot of people were like painting the brick on their houses. And again, the white brick with the black trim. Again, is that something that, you're seeing a lot more people painting brick? Or?
I'm seeing a lot of backlash towards painting the brick. I do see, I see a lot of builders still around Atlanta. Like you can clearly see they chose a certain brick because they're going to paint it, which I understand. But I'm seeing a lot, and even on the different, Facebook groups that I'm a part of throughout Atlanta, just the moms groups and the referral groups and the decorating groups, people are like, remember, once you paint it, you can't ever go back. And it's true. It's true. So I think it really depends on your brick home and what the color of that brick is, right? I mean, there's certain bricks that I would say maybe we do need to paint it, but when it's a nice deep red brick, it's beautiful.
Right.
And Atlantans love brick homes, so show it off. And there's other ways to update it, right? Whether it's putting shutters on and painting those, or adding an awning, or different light fixtures on either side of the entry door, changing the entry door. So I think the trend of painting our brick homes all white, unless there's a reason, like you had to do a major, repair and you can't find the brick to match, which it is very hard to match brick after it's been aged and et cetera. But I think that trend is starting to go away.
Okay, interesting. So in terms of projects that, if somebody wants to be able to make updates to their home, what kind of updates would they do, and which areas would give them the biggest bang for their buck?
So definitely the kitchen, 100%, right? So the kitchen, I think always, is the first place to start and say, okay, can I just repaint my cabinets? Are my cabinets in great condition? And all I need to do is repaint my, or just repaint the island, or even paint your hood. If you have a wood hood, you can, you can paint that just to make it a different color, backsplash, and then bathrooms. Of course, that's so easy. I always say focus where the owners or the buyers, when they're going into a home, are focusing on their space. They're focusing on, what they're going to show off to their friends and family and where they're going to spend the most time. These secondary bedrooms and bathrooms, they're more like, okay, can I fit a decent sized bed in here? Is it functional? Is it clean? But I think the primary bedroom is also really important, whether that's repainting, updating lighting, and also changing, the primary bathroom as well. And once again, simple thing, if you don't want to change out the whole vanity, and start dealing with changing the flooring, because once you start changing one thing, it can turn into a whole cycle. But repainting the vanity, or just changing the top on the vanity, and changing mirrors out and lighting, that's so cheap. You can get, a mirror for, a big round mirror for $100, $150, and put that, above, and changing out those big rectangular pre-cut mirrors that are kind of like builder grade.
Yep.
And if you don't want to even change that out, you can go to different companies and get frames that just stick on those mirrors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to update it so it looks more like a custom thing. Anything you can do to make your home look more designed and more customized, but not taste specific.
Right.
Neutral while you're doing it, I think it is adding value to your home.
And that's so important about taste specific, as you said, because otherwise, if you're updating your house and you want to be able to sell it at a later point, you want to make sure that it's not too taste specific, because it makes it more difficult to sell it.
Right, exactly, 100%. And going back to like mixing the metal, don't mix more than 2 metals in a room too.
Okay.
I need to clarify that. I love mixing metal. Don't mix more than 2.
Okay.
In a room.
What about in basements? What are you seeing people doing with the basement?
I'm seeing basements. I'm doing a lot of basement renovations.
Okay.
People are kind of getting rid of those drop-down ceilings.
Okay.
And seeing what they can do, like just put regular ceilings in. LVP in basement is always going to be king. It's waterproof. We get a lot of rain in Atlanta. And occasional, I see a lot of like, oh my gosh, water came into my basement with all these, we get some major rain, so LVP will always be king because it is waterproof. I'm seeing it becoming a multi-use space, whether it's, to have a guys' night and watch whatever big game is going on, or, the teen lounge to send them down there and just say like, I don't want to hear your video games or whatever you're doing, like go down there. But I'm seeing it becoming really like, the second heart of the home is a basement. So I think finishing out basements is, very good.
Okay. Are there any things that you've seen where people should avoid doing it themselves, or maybe get people to help with them? Have you seen some? Tile?
Do not lay tile on your own. I've seen some really poor tile jobs that can be like a make or break situation. Please, and electrical, 100%. If you're having to repair or replace electrical, it's one thing to change a light fixture where the electricity already exists. But if you need to move electrical, repair, replace, hire a certified electrician. I tell people that all the time. Same with plumbing. You don't want to be penny wise, pound foolish at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's not worth it to save, $100 and then end up with thousands of dollars of repairs or worse.
Right. Going back to mirrors, right? You mentioned about are there certain shapes mirrors that are popular right now?
I mean, I think I love a round mirror. I love an arched mirror, a pill-shaped mirror, which is kind of rectangle with like the curved. Well, a pill-shaped mirror is more oval, like a pill-shaped, but I also like the rectangle mirror with like the curved corners as well. It's really nice. And framed mirrors versus frameless. So, which is why I said if you have a frameless mirror, go, onto Google and search, how can I frame my frameless mirror? And websites will come up where you punch in your numbers of dimensions, and then you can choose the frame you want. And I think you just stick it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they easy to remove too after you've stuck it on, or after you stick it on?
With some Goo Gone, yes. But hopefully it looks so great you don't need to remove it.
Right.
So.
Right. In terms of different styles that you've seen come in, what's been your favorite one that?
Yeah. So, I mean, farmhouse. So what's out is farmhouse, right?
Okay,
I mean, farmhouse, people are still doing hints of farmhouse. Like I'll see a barn door here and there and I get it. Like they're great. They're easy, but more modern barn door that's been painted, not rustic. So like a modern barn door is great. But the rustic farmhouse is out. Like these, and I think they've been out, right? I think we just overdid it, right? We loved that specific show that everybody watched on HGTV.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yes, and it was just, farmhouse city everywhere.
Right.
And Atlanta really grasped it, and so did the rest of the country. And we put it everywhere so much that now we can't look at it. So, these painted signs are really out. Just wreaths like inside your house are out. Just that type of stuff is out. But what is trending is really transitional Atlanta loves transitional modern. It will never go out for Atlanta. Bright, airy, open spaces, with maybe a moody space here and there will always, get 90% of Atlantans' hearts. And then, hints of modern decor, not contemporary, but modern. Some, mid-century lines are still in. I see that they're coming out a little bit, but I think, a few of the mid-century touches are nice and in. Shades of white, like layers of white are really in. That kind of rustic chic, I guess you could say, where it's more like a Western chic, right? Like leathers are really trending right now too. Right. Yeah, like the warm browns and then like a pop of black are really trending.
All right. I know you talked about some of the colors earlier, and I've heard that a lot of people are painting like the walls one color, but they're bringing other elements and bringing color to that. Like some, as you mentioned, some greens and some brighter colors if you want. Are you seeing a lot more of that? Like
yes,
cushions and other accessories, people bringing those in?
Yes, people I think are just so sick of like that, the grays and the kind of depressive kind of feel. It's funny because you'll hear different things though from different people, and it's all about psychology as well. Okay. And when I went to a class about paint trends and what's going on through one of the major paint companies, they had different kind of visions for 2024, and one was more of like a spa feel, and they're saying all the light blues are in right now because people want to feel, relieved and like they're in a spa and relax. So really, light blues are really trending, but on the other end you've got, and then they say, people are so sick of the like medical feel, but then the next page it's like layers of whites, Right. So, but I think it's like, warm whites, right? Like not yellow whites, but whites with depth so that you don't get that medical feel. So I understand that, but then you also have, then there's all this turmoil going around in the world. So you have these moody color rooms too. So I think it's all kind of, it all goes, and you want to be able to make sure that you're balanced in your design, right? Like right. I said, it's okay to have like these warm kind of layers of whites throughout your house, as long as you're also mixing in, a room with that moody color here or there. And then you can do, maybe the primary bedroom retreat could be that spa color, which is really nice because you do want your primary bedroom to feel relaxed and calming.
Right.
I mean, at least I do.
Yep.
So
okay. When you're saying moody colors, what kind of moody rooms? What kind of colors are those?
So, more like that charcoal blue, the deep greens. I'm seeing even a deep purple. Okay. Like I've seen people do full on like kind of eggplant, but like a deep purple is really pretty too. So what's not trending is a millennial pink that was going on years ago, right? Right. You don't want to do an accent room, a whole room with that accent color, for example. Pink is generally, I think, kind of trended out too. But yeah.
Even after the recent movie where it became such
a so I think it's great in teen girls' rooms, 100%. And maybe a pop of pink in personal spaces is great, but maybe not in the living room or the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about accent walls. So is it still popular to have like just one wall where you're painting it? And is wallpaper, I've heard that wallpaper was coming back too. Is that still something that people are moving towards now?
Yes, wallpaper is trending big time, but it can be very taste specific.
Right.
So be very careful if you're planning on selling your home soon. You don't want to do something with like butterflies and rainbows, in a bathroom. Yeah, and unicorns, right. So yes, but like a floral wallpaper, I think I'm seeing, the grand millennial style that was in a few years ago has kind of toned down a bit. It was really like grandma, like it was like a grandma chic is what was in, and it was kind of like florals on top of florals and maybe some plaids too. And I think that's kind of toned down, but we're still taking those florals are still in. because it's that bringing the outside in, right? And botanicals are still in. I also think doing just textured wallpaper is really nice, where it kind of gives like a foil effect, or even grass cloth. We're seeing a lot of metallic grass cloth coming in. And if you don't want to do your whole wall, the ceiling's the fifth wall, guys. Like, don't forget about your ceiling. You can do your accent wall on your fifth wall.
Right.
So you can do that with wallpaper or with paint. And it's an easy way where it's like not in your face. But once again, it's giving people that feeling of, oh my gosh, the space is designed, and it takes it up the level.
Yeah, a lot of homes in the UK have wallpapers, and I've hung wallpaper. It's hard to do too. So
It is, right.
Trying to make sure you have the seams lined up and everything.
Well, and that's why you hire a professional.
Yes.
And-
Don't hire me, people.
And people love the peel and stick wallpaper. And that's something great to try behind like your built-in bookcases. And I do hear a lot of people that can DIY that. And I think that's fine as long as it's something like a built-in bookcase or maybe a smaller wall, where that if you did have an accidental imperfection, you can cover it up, by putting, especially with bookcases, right? You can style things in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife recently did that peel and stick actually in our powder room downstairs.
And she did a great job, I bet.
She's listening, so yes, she did a great job.
Okay, good.
But yeah, and so, and it's so easy to be able to get so many different colors and be able to put them in different places too. And as you said, it doesn't have to be in the whole wall either. You can have, just wallpaper at the bottom and paint on the top too.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of different things that can be done.
Yes.
there.
And in the millwork is still in, what's been trending is the millwork on walls. So, the different wood, like paneling, and there's all different shapes and, boxes you can do, whether on one wall, or maybe you do it below a chair rail and just do it on the half a wall or above it, or you could do it just on, in a primary bedroom behind the headboard. But yes, that is still trending too.
Okay. What about things that are no longer, I mean, you mentioned, that the barn doors are kind of still
And the wood signs, rose gold, gray, cold gray is out. Like a warm gray is still in, and graises are very in. But I mean, I think we're really looking for more warmth when we're going into our homes and designs. And I'm trying to think about what else. The boucle fabrics are really out. They're like the nubby kind of fabrics. They were trending for a while, and they're just... There's softer boucles, and then there's like very boucle. And I think that's really out too. So, that's definitely out as well.
If people want to get to know, understand interior design and different materials and products, what would be a good source for people to go to for that sort of?
Well, I think, Instagram is great. Make sure you kind of look at who you're following. The magazines are still relevant. There's plenty of great, design magazines out there, depending on what you're looking for as well. And kind of for, all, there's some magazines like Architectural Digest that are like really bespoke design, but I think they also are, you can grab a few things that can be relevant to you as well. And then there's, just a lot of the general magazines for interior design are great. HGTV is great. Still, I think you can still see a lot of upcoming trends on there as well. And then just looking at websites with furniture, because everything is so visual now, and most of the furniture shopping is done online now today. So, and walking through furniture stores. But when you go on these websites, you're going to see, how they've curated the room, and of course it's going to be more neutral probably than what you would want, but it's neutral so that they can sell their furniture. But take that, they're trending for a reason, because they're going to be, these furniture companies have to stay in business.
Right.
So it's going to be very visual and appealing to everybody.
Yeah. Did you say that a lot of people are moving more to looking online at furniture? 'Cause I
Yes.
would have thought, isn't furniture very textural though? Isn't it a lot of touch? So
It is.
How'd you get
It
past that?
definitely is. It is. So, I still recommend if you're going to go get a sofa, like go sit in it, feel it, touch it. Make sure you like the way it sits. There's always multiple different, feels of how a cushion, can sit as well. They have different levels of cushion, hardness, firmness, etc. But I think, a lot of furniture stores went out of business during COVID, and a lot more people started just going that way into buying online. So yes, it's hard, but if you're purchasing something online, make sure to inspect it within that first 24 hours and make a claim and call the furniture company up immediately. It is harder. It's definitely harder. But even the furniture companies that are still in business with open stores do not carry all their products.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't have the room.
Right.
They don't have the space to do it because most people are doing everything online.
Interesting. So if people want to be able to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at SBS Designs. That's also my Facebook hashtag. And then you can also go to my website, which is www.sbsdesignsatlanta.com. And you can, call me, fill out a form, email me, whatever is easiest.
And do you have like a phrase or a slogan or something that you use to, live your life?
Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Yes,
I like
some days, people don't realize it, but I mean, you can relate as, being a real estate agent, but, things do not always go the way you expect it to. And sometimes you have to put out fires before you tell your clients. It's a lot of it in the furniture industry too.
Right.
And figure out the right way. And, it's just, and that's why people hire a designer because they don't want to deal with any of that. But it's some days are harder than others, whether it's business or life in general. Tomorrow's always a new day.
I like it. Do you have a word of the year too? I know some people do.
Yeah, mindful or more. I'm not mindfulness. I'd say being present.
Okay.
Yeah, being present. I'm finding myself needing to just turn that clock, turn off business mode, at 5 p.m. and be present. Because, I think we learned a lot, during, and I know people are probably like overhearing COVID, but we have taken a lot away from it. And part of that is you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So, if we're doing all this and working so hard, make sure you're taking that time for what really matters. And it's, family and yourself.
I agree. I think you definitely need to have some personal time.
Yeah.
It's so easy to work all the time, but
It is.
take some
very easy.
Take some personal time too is great. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming in today. I've learned a lot. This has been great. So
Great.
thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Atlanta Realtors Rundown. Please subscribe, and for more information on how to get engaged, check us out at atlantarealtors.com. We look forward to having you join us for the next episode.